I have muted you all, okay, but you can see the screen, right? So guys, this is the entire Selenium outline, right, for Selenium WebDriver and Cucumber course, okay? So this is some of the concepts, okay, which we have seen, just giving you a couple of minutes of introduction, so that, you know, when we actually start learning something, right, you should be aware of what is the course syllabus, okay, what is the course syllabus and what is the outline and how are we going to plan and proceed, right? So first I'll give you the entire structure, and then going forward we'll start picking up each and individual topics, okay? So this is your entire Selenium WebDriver introduction. Within introduction, we will study what your WebDriver is, what is the history of a WebDriver, how do you launch your browser, right? When you test manually, right, how do you test? You open your application, right? And if it is a web-based application, you open a browser, and within that you open your application, right? So how do you manage all those things when you are actually working in automation and you want to open your application by automation? So we will have a look at that, and then we will see some of the basic Selenium commands, right? With commands related to Selenium WebDriver. Okay, this is purely related to Selenium WebDriver basics. And then there are a couple of difficulties when we are actually working for Selenium, especially related to XPath and weights, right? For finding elements on the web, right? So we have the concept of XPath to find elements. Apart from that, there are many other things. XPath is one of those. And then certain times what happens, you know, in this advanced technology wherein people are using, you know, React.js and many more other languages, you know, those are dynamic languages and the page gets loaded dynamically, right? So we have to use the concept of wait, wherein we have to wait for a specific element or a button to get loaded on the page, right? So we have wait. So till this, we will cover the basics, and then there are various elements, okay, which are available on your web page. Okay, for example, your drop down, your alert boxes, right? You can have multiple windows, right? You click on one window and then there is another window gets opened up. So all those things, right? Sending something via your keyboard, right? All those things we will be covering over here, right? Handling different controls which are available on your web page. These are entirely basics to Selenium. Then we have this concept of Sng Framework, right? So Sng is basically how do you design? It's a design pattern. How do you convert when you are actually working on automation, right? So how do you write your test cases, right? So Sng is basically more favorable in terms of writing test cases when you are dealing with Java, okay? So Sng gives you many features, for example, annotations, groupings, and all those things. So we will see the entire Sng framework over here. And then we have Selenium Grid. Okay? In the grid, we will be covering that how do you execute your project, yeah, your automation code, you know, on a multiple system, you know, using multi-threading concept. Okay, so those will be covered in Selenium Grid. And then page object modeling, again, it's a design pattern, right? We can have multiple design patterns, for example, hybrid framework, and different types of framework are available. And page object model is a design pattern wherein we, for each of the pages on your application, we divide the pages into all the pages into a page object, and then we proceed for automation. I understand that as of now, this might be going as a bouncer for you, some of you, and some of you might be relating it. But even if you don't understand, that's fine. Just try to get the outline of the course, right? And then finally, you know, after learning these small things, small individual things, you know, you learn module A, module B, module C, and then finally you integrate. And finally, we will see what exactly is automation framework, right? Okay. So this we will see in automation framework. How do you integrate all those things which we have learned? For example, Selenium WebDriver, the basics of Selenium WebDrivers, the page object modeling, right? All these features which we have learned. Okay, how do you integrate those will be covered in automation framework. And then again, we have some concept of Maven and Jenkins and GitHub. Okay, so when you have done something, right, you have to upload your code, right, so that multiple people can use the same code. Okay, so for that we have this concept of GitHub and versioning control. And then finally we have this Cucumber, right? Okay, again, the Cucumber is basically used for people who are not so technical, right? For people who are not so technical, they can write your cases in the Cucumber language. You know, it uses a plain Gherkin language that is a quite similar language to English. Okay, they use this language mostly your BA and your stakeholders, right, who are not more into technical. They'll write your test case in Cucumber, and then using Cucumber, you have to convert your test cases into some more reasonable code. Okay. Okay, so this was more or less about your outline. Let me move towards my Eclipse screen. The first thing is, you know, now forget entirely about your Selenium. Okay, I want everyone to forget all the concept of Selenium, because to start with Selenium, the very first thing and the basics of Selenium is any one programming language. Okay, I'm not saying it's Java, but what I'm saying is any one programming language is required when you start learning Selenium. Okay, it might be Java, it might be C#, it might be Python. Okay, any language you feel comfortable, you should learn before you move to Selenium, right? So first thing is we will start learning some of the concept of Java, okay, which are required when you are actually working on Selenium, right? When you start working on Selenium, okay, there are some concepts, okay, which you might not be aware of. Okay, so those concepts we will first cover over here, okay, and then we will move on towards Selenium. Okay, clear up till now? Okay, so now first thing is for Java, you need to have installed your JDK. Okay, you have to install your JDK, and you can install this JDK. Okay, this is the Oracle website, right? You can install JDK from here. And the second thing is, again, it depends, right? In JDK, it depends on your which version do you want to install. If you have Chrome, sorry, if you have Mac or something, you can install. And then we have Eclipse, right? You need to have Eclipse as well in your system. Okay, this is your Eclipse. You can simply download 64-bit Eclipse, okay, and you can start using it. Okay, guys. So this is an Eclipse screen, right? It would look something like this. Okay, so now the first thing is when you are actually working on any Java project, you should be able to, create a new project. So how do you create a new project in Eclipse? You can simply say File, New, and you can say New Java Project, right? We are working on Java, so we will say File and New Java Project. Okay. Okay, I'll write the name of the project. Okay, so I'll say you can write any name of your project, click on next, okay, and then you can click on finish. We don't need this module. Okay, so this is your project, okay, Selenium sessions for August. Now, here we have your source folder. Okay, when I say source folder means this is the folder which will contain all your code, right? Yes, do this on your own. I think you guys should have Java and Eclipse in your system. Okay. Yes, you need to have install Eclipse and Java. Okay, and that's quite simple. Like you just have to download the file and you have to run that particular file, right? And no worries if you feel if you have any challenges in that, then we can cover it one-to-one. Okay, but since we have the entire audience and most of the people might have Java and Eclipse, so we are moving ahead with Eclipse project, right? So you create a simple project. Okay, I have created a simple Java project. Within this Java project, okay, this is my package. Okay, this is my source package. What you can say is my source package will contain all my code. Okay, you can simply right click and you can say you want to create a new class. Okay, you want to create a new class. So I'll say my class name is, let's say we want to study Java basics. Okay, so I'll create Java basics as my class. Okay, within source folder, we have this package, default package. You can have your own package or you can use this default package. And I'll have this class Java basics. Okay, guys. So now in Java, okay, when we are actually moving to Selenium, let us see few of the concepts, which are required when you are actually learning Java, right? So I'll say, for example, what are your data types which are available in Java? Okay, then simple data type conversion. Okay, simple data type conversion. Okay, and then apart from data type, what is class and objects? What is class and what is objects in Java? Okay, and then what we need to study is we have to study what is arrays. Okay, and then the collections framework. Okay, especially the array list and hash map. Okay, collection framework, and then you have your interface and abstract class. Okay, then you have your interface and then you have your looping mechanism, right? How do you loop in Java? So looping mechanism in Java. Okay, So these are more or less some of the basic things. Okay. And apart from this also, if we get something while we are covering, we will cover those as well, right? So there is no hard and fast rule. Okay. But yeah, if we are covering, then we will cover. And yeah, one more thing is, that is a major thing which I missed out, is your inheritance, right? Major thing is your inheritance. Okay. So for today, I mean, we can start with data types. Okay, that's the very basic of Java. Okay, so first thing what you have to do is, first you have to create a class. You have to create a class, and within that class, you can have one method. This is your main method. Okay, guys, this method name is your main method. Let's imagine if you create a class and if there is no main method, what you can do is you can simply write main and you can use control and space bar. Okay, and this is giving you help as main method. You can simply select that particular main method. I'll show that again. Simply write main and use control plus space bar. Okay, you can see this main method over here. Simply select the main method. One thing to be noted is execution in Java starts from the main method. Okay, guys, execution in Java starts from the main method. So if I run this class Java basics, first the JVM will check if there is a main method, and if there is a main method, it will start the execution from here. So whatever I write in this particular line, in this particular block, I would say it will start execution. Okay, so now let's say if I want to store, let's say I am a person, I'm working in a company, right? Let's imagine this class is an employee. Okay, so I have some entity, right? I have my name and I have my ID, right? So let's imagine my employee ID is 45, right? My employee ID is 45, but I'll have to store it somewhere, right? In Java, I cannot simply say that your ID is 45, right? You have to store it somewhere, right? So what I can do is I can declare a variable in Java. How do you declare a variable? Let's say I want to declare an integer variable, right? So I'll say integer ID is equal to 45. Or other ways, I can simply declare my variable. We will see primitive data types and non-primitive. Okay, and when I say non-primitive, you should write string also over here. Okay, so guys, in primitive data type, we have, okay, what do we have in primitive? For example, integer, char, okay, boolean, okay, float, double, long. All these are an example of primitive data type. Okay, this is how you declare your variable. So this is only variable declaration. Okay, we have declared a variable, but you have not assigned any value to this particular variable. Let's say this variable name is employee ID, and this is my employee ID, and I also store my name. Okay, to store the name, okay, name is a string, right? Name is a string. Okay, let's forget about the string as of now. Let's simply focus on my integer data type. Integer is one of the primitive data type. So I have defined a variable, and if I want to assign a value to this, I can say employee ID is equal to 45, right? This is one way. And the other way is, you can directly declare your variable like this: integer employee ID is equal to 45. There is one more thing in Java: you cannot have two variables with the same name, at least in the same block, right? Two variables with this is conflicting. Okay, so this is one way, and this is the second way. I have declared my variable and then I am initializing it. If I want to print my variable, I mean the value of my employee ID, I can simply say system.out.println. Okay, the shortcut for writing this entire line is SYSO. Okay, and then use control space bar. It will convert into system.out.println, and you can write your variable name over here, employee ID, and you can simply print this. It's printing 45. Okay, it's printing. Let me this full screen. Okay, it is printing 45. Okay, now if I want to say something, I want to print something with this, you have to specify. If something is not a variable, you have to specify in double quotes. Okay, so what I can say is my employee ID is, okay, this will get printed as it is, and then you can use plus, and then you can specify your variable. Okay, my employee ID is 45. Okay, so this is your integer data type, and employee ID is your variable. In a similar fashion, we have string, right? If you want to store name, okay, a series of character, okay, before string, let's see character. Okay, let's say if I want to store only single character, only a single character, I can say character C is equals to A. Okay, let me name this character variable. Okay, this is my character variable, and I'm assigning the value as A. You can only assign single character. If you do like this, it will give you an error. Okay, because this is a series of character. Okay, a character means only one value like this. Okay, and if I want to print character, I can say printing character. Okay, and the variable name is char variable, right? Now when I run this, it's printing my character, and the value of the character is A, right? If, let's imagine, I want to store a series of characters. For example, my name is Ajay, and if I want to store my name, I cannot do into a character data type variable. I'll have to use string. Okay, so for string, again, you can say you have defined your string, and you can, sorry, not ID, you can say employee name is equals to, within double quotes, you have to specify my name is Ajay. Okay, I'll specify my name, and then I can simply print, and I can say my name is, okay, and plus what should I print over here? Employee name, right? Now when I print this, it's printing my name is Ajay. Okay, so this is how you define your variables. Let's say I want to define long. Okay, so I can say long, and I can say long variable is equals to something like this. Okay, and then I can simply print this. This is an example of long variable. Okay, and I can say long variable. Now when I run this, it's working. So similar fashion, okay, it remains same for all the concept, except for Boolean, right? Boolean can contain only value as true or false, right? I can write Boolean bool is equals to true or false, and I can simply print bool, your variable name. Okay. Okay, so this was more or less your defining your variables. Okay, defining your variables. And then what we can see is, how do you convert your one variable to another variable? Okay, for example, if I have given you a data type as integer, and I ask you to convert this in string, how do you do this? Okay, because in Selenium WebDriver, sometimes it happens that you get data in integer and you want to convert it into string. So how do you do this? Okay, so let's imagine I have this integer data. Okay, I have this employee ID, right? This employee ID is integer, right? This employee ID is integer, right? Now I want to convert this integer, okay, to string. I want to convert this integer to string. So what I can say is, there is a method called as integer, okay, dot to string. And what do I want to convert to string? I want to convert my employee ID to string. Okay, I want to convert my employee ID, which is of a data type integer, to string. Okay, once I convert this to string, it is returning me a value in string. So I'll have to store it somewhere, right? So I'll have to store it in a string. Okay, so I can say this is my string name. Okay, and now when I print this, okay, it's when I print this, it's printing my employee ID, okay, as a string. Okay, it has converted my employee ID into string. Okay, so this is one way wherein you can convert your integer to string. And if someone says, I have my string to integer, okay, if someone says you have your string, right? So let's say if I define one string, okay, let's say if I say string s is equals to 150, okay, this is my string. Okay, string in double quotes can have any values, right? Now I know that this is a numeric value, right? This is an integer value, but as of now it is defined into a string. And if I want to convert this into an integer, there is a method called as, okay, the method name is, I think, integer, okay, sorry, not internal, it's integer dot parse integer. Integer the parse integer, and over here you can define s, pass your variable. Okay, and this will now return integer, right? This will now return integer. So I can say integer I is equal to this, and then I can simply print my I. Okay, so this way we are converting your integer to string and then your string to integer. Most of the conversions, okay, mostly the integer to string and string to integer are the most common conversion which we will require when you do Selenium WebDriver. Okay, now I would like to help you with one more conversion. Okay, so that conversion is, for example, if you want to convert from long to integer, right? So we have this value as long, right? Let's say long to int. First thing is, let's say integer to long. Let's see integer to long. So I'll say one integer I1 is equals to 10, and I want to convert this integer to long. So I'll say long L1. I can simply specify the value of I1 to L1. Okay, very simple and very straightforward. I want to convert my long value to integer. Sorry, my integer value to long. So I can simply say assign this value of I1 to long, and I can simply print L1, and it will work fine. Okay, it will work fine because I have converted my integer value to long. Now, when I want to do reverse, okay, when I want to do reverse, there comes a concept of casting. Okay, now the problem is the long can hold different types of many range of values, right? Long is holding integer, but the range is very small, very big, right? For long, and for integer the range is small. Let's say if I give you two buckets, right? If I give you two buckets, one bucket can hold, okay, one bucket can hold, let's say bucket 1 can hold 5 liters, okay, and bucket 2 can hold 50 liters, okay, and this bucket 1 is actually your integer and this bucket 2 is actually your long. Okay, so if I want to move the water from this integer, okay, to the 50 liters bucket 2, it's possible, right? I can simply move entire 5 liters of water from here to bucket 2 and there is no loss, right? But if I want to convert from long to integer, that means I want to convert all my water from bucket 2 to bucket 1, then there will be a loss of water, right? Because I have 50 liters and this particular bucket cannot hold entire 50 liters. Okay, then there is a loss of water. So in the same way, okay, if I say I have this long, okay, I'll write over here, I have this long L2 is equal to a big value. And if I want to convert this value into integer I3, okay, and if I simply assign the values like this, the way I did over here, I'm converting my 5 liters to 50 liters bucket, and that is fine, right? Because this 50 liter can hold your 5 liter. But in the reverse way, now I'm trying to give my 50 liter to a bucket of 5 liter, and that is not possible because there is data loss now. So whenever there is a data loss, Java will explicitly ask you that you are trying to do something wherein there will be a loss of data. So do you really want to convert this into a long or integer? Then you can specify, yes, you want to convert into integer. This is called as casting. Okay, guys, when I write something, you have to define the casting. Okay, even if you don't write and if you hover on the error, it will say that add cast to integer, right? You can add cast to integer. Okay, guys, clear? This is data and data type conversion. If there are any questions, guys, please keep on posting in the chat group. Okay, so we have seen the major of data types and the data type conversion. Okay, and then let's see the classes and objects, right? Now, what exactly a class is and what exactly an object is. Okay, so when I say classes and objects, so if you go in Java, right? If you are studying Java or any programming language, okay, the base of entire Java is, objects. The base of entire Java is objects. Okay, everything in Java. Okay, if you see in Java, everything in Java is considered to be as an object. Okay, everything in Java is considered to be as an object. Now, one second. Okay, so when I say object, right? So what is exactly an object is, right? Any entity you can say, right? Anything which has some state or maybe some behavior, right? That is called as an object. For example, you, me, your laptop, this entire thing which you see in this real world, right? Those are all your objects, right? Your laptop, right? Your laptop has some entity, right? So it is an entity, it has some behavior, right? It has some state, right? So these are called as your objects. Okay, your chair, your bike, anything you name an object, anything you name, it's an object. Okay, but all these objects are actually grouped together. Okay, all these objects are actually grouped together. Okay, and when we group and similar objects, then we form a group, and that group is called as a class, right? So when I say class, means a class is basically, okay, a class is basically a blueprint, I can say, or maybe a template, right? From which your objects are created. So make a note of this line. Your object are the instance or result of a class. Okay. And if you see, object actually is a real world entity, right? You can feel the object, you can touch your object, right? But classes are virtual, right? There's nothing such thing in real when I say classes. Okay, for example, we have vehicles, right? Within vehicle, what do we have? Okay, within vehicle, what do we have? We have bike, right? We have many bikes, we have automobiles, we have rickshaws, we have truck, we have car, right? These are all your real objects, right? You can touch them. But vehicle is not something real, right? That is your grouping of your object. For example, people. Okay, people is a class, and within people you have me and you, right? We are all the people, we are all the object of that particular class, people, right? So you can touch me, I have some behavior, I can speak, I can write, like, okay? So I am an object, and grouping of a similar object, okay, is called as a class. So class is more or less your blueprint. Okay, so I have defined my class over here. How do you define a class? You can simply say public class and the name of the class. Okay, public class and the name of your class. This is your class. Now, what is an object then? Okay, let me create one more class over here. So what I'll do is I'll create a class. Let's say vehicle is my class. Okay, vehicle is my class. Okay, and I'll have one more class, and that class is actually, oh, sorry, not there. That class is actually bike. Okay, now let's say bike is your class. Okay, let's say this is your class bike. Okay, now within bike, what you can do is, you can have some methods. Okay, how do you define a method? When I say methods, right, what can your classes have? Okay, your classes can have some methods. Your classes, okay, I'll write this over here. What can a class have? Class can have fields, methods, and constructors. Okay, there might be many other things as well. Okay, but we'll see some of the major things. So your class can have your fields, your methods, and your constructors. Okay, so this is my class. I have defined my class. Then I'll define some of the fields. Okay, I'll define some of the fields. So let's say I define my field as, again, I'll say integer student ID. Let's say, now I'm dealing with bike, right? So I'll say bike ID. Okay, and I can say string bike name. Okay, these are my variables. Okay, and then I can also have some methods, right? So I can say public void. Okay, public is like it is visible to everyone, and void means this method is returning nothing as of now. Okay, and I'll write the method name. So we can start your bike, right? So you can say start. Okay, you can start your bike. What more method can you have? Okay, you can say public method. You can stop your bike. Okay, now within that, in this particular method, you will have your lines of code. Okay, what I'll do is, as of now, I'll say that I am starting the bike. Okay, I am starting the bike and I am stopping the bike. Okay, this is your bike class. Now, if you see, I do not have a main method over here. Okay, there is no main method over here. Then how do I run this class? If I want to run this program, how can I run this? Okay, now comes the concept of object. What I will do is, this is my main program, right? This is my main. So the code execution will start over here. What I'll do is I'll create an object. This is my class, right? Bike is my class. I'll create an object of bike class. So how do you create an object? I'll say bike, and then I'll create a reference name, okay? A reference variable. So reference variable is, let's say, bike object is equals to new. We have to use this new keyword, and then you have to write again the class name and opening closing bracket and end the statement. Now this is actually creating your object. Okay, this is actually creating your object, and we are pointing towards that object using this reference variable bike object, right? And now when I say bike object, okay, I use this reference variable dot. I can have my start. I can access all my methods, right? Start and stop. These were the two methods, right? Bike object dot stop, right? These were the two methods, and I can also access the variable name, right? Bike ID and bike name. Now, as of now, there is no value defined for bike ID. What I'll say is, let my bike ID be 11, and my bike name is, let's say, is Honda. Okay, so what I'll do is, I can simply print that particular value. I'll say bike object, okay, dot bike ID. I can print this, and I can print my bike name. Okay, dot bike name. Now, now when I run this, can you see this, guys? It's running all the methods, right? Bike object dot start dot stop, the bike ID, and the bike name. Now, one thing to be noticed over here is, one thing to be noticed in this particular class, okay, this is my main class, okay. In this main class, I do not have all these methods, right? Start, stop, and all these methods and variables, right? These methods and variables, they actually belong to my bike class, right? They actually belong over here to a different class. And what I am doing is, if you want to access any variables or any methods, any data or any method from one class, okay, of one class from another class, what you have to do is first create an object of that class. Okay, I want to access the variables and methods of bike class. Okay, what I will do is first create an object of the bike class. This is an object name, and then using that object, you can access all the methods which are available in that particular class. Okay, guys, using that method, you can access all the methods and variables which are present in that particular class. So this is like more or less of classes and objects, right? So how do you define a class? How do you create an object of that particular class? And how do you use those particular objects? Okay, so guys, this is important even when you're working on Selenium. Okay, so for Selenium, right, you will be creating an automation framework, right? Not a single file. When I say single file means this is your single file. Okay, this is your one single file. And you cannot have all the codes, right, in your one single file. For example, you cannot have all the methods in this file. So we have to segregate the methods depending on their features, and we can segregate those methods into classes, right? Grouping of methods. Okay. So there will be a situation wherein I have defined some method into a different class, but I want to use that from this file or from this class. Then you should know how do you access those particular methods or variables, right? The best way is create an object, and using that object, you have to call those particular methods and variables. Okay, guys? Now let's see some of the concept of string, right? We have seen how do you define a string, right? So we have already seen, let me just simply print employee name, right? I think we have seen employee name. Okay, so it's printing Ajay, right? So the employee name is Ajay. So now let's imagine, okay, if you want to perform some operations on string, right? So string is first of all immutable in Java, right? And when I say immutable means this, once the string variable is created and the value is assigned, it cannot be changed, right? Each and every time a new string actually gets created rather than changing the value. Okay, so when I say strings, okay, so this is one of the way you can define your string. Okay, or you can also define, let's say, string, I'll say emp name is equals to new. You can define your new string like this. Okay, and within that, within that you can specify your values, right? Within that you can specify your values. Now when I run this, you can say emp name. Okay, it's printing my name. Okay, so you can define string in the earlier way, the way we saw over here, right? String employee name, and then employee name is equal to this, or you can say string emp name is equal to new string and your name, right? String does not comes into a primitive data type. Okay, when I say primitive data type, then string does not comes over here. When I say non-primitive, right? Non-primitive data type, then we can say string and arrays. Okay, and one more thing to notice is actually string in Java is a class. Okay, string in Java is actually a class. Okay, and let's say if you want to, do more in terms of strings, right? You want to keep on updating your string, then what should you do is, instead of using string, you should go for string builder. Okay, so I'll say string builder SB is equals to new string builder, is equals to new string builder, and you can define the name, right? So welcome. Okay, and now when I print this SB, it will print welcome. Okay, and now if I want to add something, okay, to this string, okay, I want to say append something, right? So I can simply say append, and I can specify what do I want to append. So I can append welcome to Java sessions, right? Welcome to Java sessions. Okay, we have to print this, right? But you have to print SB. After appending, you have to print. And can you see this? Welcome to Java sessions. So it is appending your string over here. Okay, and there is one more favorite interview question about how do you reverse a string, right? It might be required in your web Selenium also, or it might not be, but yeah, it's an interview question sometimes. So what you can do is you can say there is a method, okay, called as sb.reverse. Okay, there is a method called as sb.reverse, and after reversing this string, if I print this, can you see this, guys? It is printing in reverse. It has reversed your string, and now we are printing the reverse string. Okay. So when I say string, you can simply define your string like this. Okay. You can print your string. If you want to perform multiple operations on your string, keep on updating a string. Instead of using string, you can go for string builder. Okay. And you can use the append method to append any of the values to your current string. And if you want to reverse any of your string, you can simply use the method sb.reverse. Okay, sb.reverse. Okay, so let's let's move on towards a concept called as I would say, instead of moving towards array and collections, towards array and collections, we should first see what is inheritance. Okay, and then we will move on towards array, right? So what I'll do is, I will cut this from here and I'll write this over here. So we will see that later, maybe tomorrow session. Okay. Now let's see if I want to what exactly an inheritance is. Okay. So one of the principle of Java is not exactly Java, I would say. One of the principle of object-oriented programming, guys. What is object-oriented first of all, right? So object-oriented programming, it's a group of many concepts. It's a paradigm of many concepts. For example, we have inheritance, we have data binding, we have polymorphism, we have encapsulation. These are various concepts which are concepts that are provided together as a paradigm, and then we call it as an object-oriented programming. Any language, right? Not only Java, but any languages which follows this principle of object-oriented programming, then we call that particular language as an object-oriented language. Okay, object-oriented programming language. Okay, so rather than saying Java is a programming language, we can say Java is an object-oriented programming languages, right? So when I say object-oriented, means each and every term in Java should be defined in object. Okay, and what are the main features of object-oriented programming, guys? You have your object, you have your classes, and then you have inheritance, you have your polymorphism, your abstraction, and then your encapsulation. Okay, these are your main features which are available in your object-oriented programming languages. Okay, I'll repeat. You need to have your inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. Okay, now let's see what an inheritance is. Okay, so in real world also, if you guys see, right, in real world, if you see, there are lot many people. Okay, let's say we are a child of our parents, right? Quite simple, right? So we have so many people so we have Katyani over here, right, in the chat, and there are a couple of other, we have Ajay also in the group, we have Nitin, right? So we are all children of our parents, right? Now, since we are children of our parents, we belong, or we get, or I can say we inherit some of the properties from our parents, right? Is this statement clear? And is this statement correct, guys? Yes. So when I say I am a child of my parent, okay, then I inherit some of the properties, right, from my parents. And when I say properties, it's not your house and money, okay, guys? I'm talking about features, right? Your features. Like some people say that my child is tall, right? So he is more or less inheriting some of the property, like more in terms of genetics, right? More in terms of genetics. It's a genetic disease, right? So it's like you have inherited something from your ancestors, okay? So this guy is tall means he's more of gone towards his parents' side, right? Father's side, because his father is also tall. So something or the other, what actually we are doing is we are inheriting. So the same concept, right? This is inheritance. If you say this is a general concept, okay?
But the same concept is applied in Java, wherein if you have a parent and if you have a child, then your child can inherit some of the properties and behaviors, methods, anything you call from your parents. Okay, the concept remains the same irrespective of programming language. Right, this is the core concept, and it will remain common even if you study Java, you study Python, you study Golang, you study C++, or any languages which supports object-oriented programming. Okay, so now we have seen the concept. Okay, now how do we deal that particular concept in Java, right? So first thing is, to deal that we should have a parent class, right? To inherit something, right, you should have your parents, right? Then only you can inherit. Okay, so you should have a parent class, you should have a child class, right? And then there should be something in your parent class which you will be inheriting. Okay, now let's imagine vehicle. Now we know vehicle can be a parent class, right? Because vehicle is a more of a generic term. Okay, because when I say vehicle, two-wheelers can come into vehicles, three-wheelers can come into vehicles, four-wheelers, multi-axle, okay, tires, multi-axles, and there are other kinds of vehicles, which are possible. All those things come into my vehicle class. So I can say vehicle is my parent class, right? Within vehicle, what can come? Bike. I can say bike is my child class. Okay. So let's say this is my parent class, and I can have, okay, let's say I can have some methods in my parent class. Let's say, I'll say, sorry, not C, so I'll have to define some methods, right? So I'll say public void, and the method name is, I can have my vehicle can apply brake. Okay, simple. My vehicle can apply brake. Okay, this is one of the features. Okay, so I'll say applying brake from vehicle class. Okay, I'll say applying brake from vehicle class. Okay, and what more feature can a vehicle have? Okay, can anyone tell me any feature, any method which a vehicle can have? It can start, it can stop, that I have written somewhere. It can have apply brake. What else? Let's say switching light. Okay, perfect. Switching lights. So I'll say public void. Let's say switch lights. Sorry, the method name. The guys, the naming convention also, right? We have to follow the naming convention as well. Okay. I'll tell you the naming convention. So if I go over here, when I say a class name, usually the class name first letter is capital. Each letter of the first word is capital, right? So when I say class, let's say class name is Ajay Demo. So I can say Ajay, sorry, A should be capital, Ajay Demo, Java, something like this. Okay, this will be the class name. But when I say method name, in method name, it's a camel case, right? First letter should be, let's say the method name is, okay, method name is show information. Okay, so it should be show I capital information like this. And if I want to say the method name is show information and print, so it should be A and D and print. Okay, first letter should be capital for the first word, and for the second words it should be, the first letter will be capital. Okay, variables usually are named into smaller case. Okay, so we have this switch lights. Okay, so I'll say switching lights from class. Now, can you guys see, this is my vehicle class. Okay, again, I have no main method over here. And this is my bike class. Okay, I am saying vehicle is my parent class and bike is my child class. Okay, I want everyone to answer me. In this vehicle class, we have two methods, apply brake and switch lights. Do I have the same method in my bike class? As of now, have I specifically written those methods into my bike class? Have I written those methods into my bike class? Okay, Purni says no. Yes. Vinita says no. What about others? Katyani? How many members do we have? I think we have 11 members. Yes, Nitin, what do you say? Vinita, Easter. Okay, so I have not specifically written any of the code from my parent class to my child class. First thing is we need to understand, you guys have to tell me if I want to access these particular methods. Okay, these methods belong to my vehicle class. And if I want to access this method from my Java basics class, from other class, what should I do? Okay, I want to access methods of vehicle class. What should I do, guys? What should I do over here? Can someone tell me, I want to access the method create object? Perfect. If I want to access any method, as I told you before, any method from another class, first create an object. So I'll create an object of vehicle class, and I can say obj vehicle is equals to new vehicle. Okay, and now when I say obj vehicle, obj vehicle dot, I can say apply break and obj vehicle switch lights. Okay, now when I run this, this is my output, applying brake from vehicle class and switching light from vehicle class. This is fine, right? Now this is good, and now we know that if I want to access any methods, you can simply use this object creation and then you can access those methods. Now, can I access those methods, okay, these methods, okay, apply brake and switch light from the child object? This was my child object, right? Can I use those methods from here? Yes, guys, can I write bike object dot what was the name? Apply brake. Can I use those methods from over here? No, right? We cannot use those methods from here. And what is the reason? What is the reason that I cannot use that method from my bike object? Perfect. These are two different classes, and I have created the object of my bike class, and I can only access the method which belongs to bike class. Now, I'm virtually saying, right? I'm saying this to you that this is my parent class and this is my bike class, right? But Java needs to know, right? I'm telling you guys virtually that this is my parent and this is my child. But Java needs to know that there is some relation between vehicle and bike. And that is why it is not able to give access to this child class object. So what we have to do is, if you want to define a relation as a parent-child relation for two classes, you can simply go to the child class and you can write extends is the keyword, and you can write the name of the parent class vehicle. Okay, so I'll write this over here. Okay. I'll write this over here. Okay. To inherit, okay, from parent class, use extend keyword. Okay, guys, to inherit from parent class, use extend keyword. So now I have just did one thing, this is my parent class and this is my bike class. I have just specified this extends vehicle. Now, when I go over here, I have created an object of my bike class, right? The child class, right? And now if I say bike object dot, will I be able to access those methods which belong to parent class? Will I be able to access those methods which belong to parent class? Yes? Okay, yes. Perfect. So now people are actually getting the concept that I am able to access those methods which belong to the parent class. And why am I able to access those methods? This, guys, make a note over here. This method does not belong to the child class. We have created an object of the child class, but this method does not belong to the child class. Still, we are able to access this method using the child class object. And that is because we are using the concept of inheritance. Okay, using inheritance, we inherit some of the properties. We inherit properties from our parent class. Okay, so if this is my parent class vehicle, and my parent class has some of the methods, okay, which are specifically in my parent class, I can have, I can use that particular methods only by creating an object of my child class. Is this concept clear, guys? So entire team, is this concept clear, wherein you create an object of your child class, okay, and then you simply use those objects to access the methods which are belonging to your parent class, right? So over here, okay, in inheritance, I would say that I can write a line for you guys. Okay, we can access parent class data or methods by creating child class objects, right? Via inheritance. Okay, when we are doing inheritance, we can actually get the data of your parent class, okay, and using your child class object, we can simply access those particular data, right? So we have seen inheritance. Let me move this up. Now there are a couple more things. Okay, there are a couple of more things after inheritance. I'll write it over here. That is method. Okay, overloading and overriding. Okay, and then we have this interface and abstract class, and then we have looping mechanism, and then arrays, and then we have this collections concept. Okay, so guys, I think for today's session, I think we have covered quite good the concept for Java. Okay, I want you guys to practice a bit, okay, and make sure that before we start our Selenium classes, you guys should be able to at least get a hold of these basics of Java. And one more thing to be noted, guys, there might be some concept, okay. Usually I'm trying to cover the entire, all the basic concept which we have in Java, right? But sometimes what happens, when you start working on Selenium, and there might come some of the concept which we might not have seen. So what we will do is we will see those particular Java concept on the runtime, okay? So it should not be a concern, wherein, okay, I haven't learned this particular topic in Java, and what if this comes into Selenium, okay? So if we are learning Selenium, and if we see that there is any such topic, which we might have not learned in Java, and if there is a need, we will learn that particular topic. For example, there is file handling. Okay, there is a topic as file handling. Now, what we are doing is we might not cover file handling in Java itself, right? Because we will explain file handling even when we are working with Selenium. Okay, how do you handle a file, and all those concepts will be covered over there as well. Okay, and that is why we will see in Selenium. But the most basic concept which are required to start with Selenium, we will be covering before we move on to Selenium. Okay, is the entire concept, whatever session was held today and whatever topics I have explained, are those clear to each and everyone? Or if you have any questions, can you specify your questions on the chat window right now? Okay, shoot me your questions, and I'm happy to answer. If we can discuss it right now if there are any questions. First thing is, did you guys get the concept? Everyone, starting from Ajay to how many Ajay do we have, man? We have 3 Ajay in this session, man. One is mine, then we have Ajay Yadav, and then there is one more Ajay. Oh my God. So we have 3 Ajays in the session. Okay. So all the 3 Ajays, I mean the 2 Ajays, one is me. And then Katyani, Easter, okay, Nitin, Kausraj, Purni, Vinita, everyone, did you get the concept, guys? Okay, that's good. That's good. So, no worries. Yeah, thank you. No worries. We will see the rest of the concept tomorrow. Okay. So, any more questions do you have except Java? I mean, apart from Java, right? Do you have any questions regarding the course content or anything like this, what I'll do is, I have allowed you all to unmute yourself, right? Anyone who wants to speak regarding the course content or anything, if you have any doubt related to Selenium or maybe to the outline or the entire course content, you can speak right now. And this is the time. I mean, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hi Ajay here.
Hey, hi.
So do we cover the APM also in this course?
No, APM is not defined for this course. This is Selenium with Java.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more?
So there is no mobile testing covered, correct?
Mobile testing, yeah. So mobile testing, as of now, we haven't specified mobile testing over here. Joshi, do you want to add anything? Because this course content is...
Right, that's why, right? We'll go step by step. That's my idea, right? So first you learn Java, then Selenium, then Cucumber. Then we'll also learn some DevOps concept. Okay, this will take around 2 months, right? Then you finish this one, you be clear and be confident in this one. Then we'll move to the next. We'll see, right, how it goes, right? So I think it's good if you go step by step. That will be good.
Okay, thank you.
So guys, the plan is, a lot of people which we have over, not everyone is on the same page as of now, right? For example, Ajit Yadav might be knowing some of the Java, but Nitin might not be knowing, and some of the people might be knowing basic of Selenium, right? So what we are trying is, we are actually using page object model for teaching as well. We want to get all of you in a one page, first of all, and then we will go ahead, so that everyone is on the same page, everything is streamlined, and we will go step by step and topic by topic, right? So first we'll cover the Java concepts, then we'll move on to Selenium, as I said, the basics of Selenium, then towards intermediate session, then advanced concept, framework, TestNG, Cucumber, and like this, right? Yeah, any more questions, guys?
Okay, then we can close the call. Okay, thank you for the
Anyone has any questions?
No, we are good. Thank
No.
you. Thanks, Ajay.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time, 7 to 8.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. It was nice talking to you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.